Yes, there's lots of rumors floating around. There's one called that we refer to as the next gen score. And they refer to it called next gen. It means next generations of credit scores. We're going to talk about those today. I'm going to briefly mention some of the other scores out there on the horizon, but it'll be too confusing. So let's just stay with the FICO scores and what they're, because those are the main factors that investors need to pay attention to.
Okay.
So the next gen score is the updated versions of the classic credit scores.
What does classic mean?
Classic means that we referred to earlier as we have 3 credit bureaus and we have 3 credit scores. Fair Isaac licensed software to the 3 credit bureaus to use these scores. The very first score that they were used, as we're going to talk about, the new one is Precision. Now I'm going to answer your question on what that score is. Precision is the new name for the TransUnion score, which used to be Empirica.
Okay.
So Precision is going to be, over time, I'm not saying next month or next week, is referred to, the next gen score is going to be referred to as your Precision score. Currently in the mortgage industry, you'd say your Empirica score. You're familiar with that. Okay. The next one is, what is a Pinnacle score? That is going to be your name for Equifax. The next one is referred to as a Beacon score currently.
Okay.
So when people say that my Beacon score is this number, in the future it's going to be a Pinnacle score.
Okay.
Now this is important information because over time there are lots of scores that are out there, and we want to keep people thinking in terms of scores that investors need to use. The only thing that investors need to pay attention to are these 3 scores.
Okay.
None of the other scores matter.
Wonderful.
So we have what is a Pinnacle score is currently is the Beacon score, will become the Pinnacle score. What is the Advanced Risk score? And we know what that one will be, and that's Experian. And Experian is referred to as currently as the FICO score.
Right.
So in the next couple years, people say, what's your score? You're going to say, well, I have an Advanced Risk score of, or I have a Pinnacle score or a Precision score. Investors are going to benefit from this because currently these scores have what they refer to as 30 reason codes, or actually they have about 38 reason codes to define what your score is. This next generation score is going to give you as many as 60, if not more, to help you define what your score is. What I mean by that is, how often have you pulled a credit report? It has the score right there, and it has the name of what the score is, Empirica, Beacon, or FICO. And then underneath that, what do you see?
You see the reason codes.
Reason codes, right.
There's usually like 3 or 4.
There's 4 usually. There has to be 4. They will let you just have 3 if your score is high enough. But the 4 reason codes are very vague. Have they ever assisted you in explaining to your customer, your client?
No.
Yeah.
Half the time you don't even know how to explain it to them because it doesn't make any sense anyway.
They're just one sentence.
Yeah.
You know, too many inquiries, too new of credit.
Right.
And a lot of times your customer, your investor is going,
they don't seem to match what's on the credit
your investor's
report.
wondering, well, how does this apply to me?
Right.
So they've understood that problem over time. But here's the benefit for investors. When these scores do come out, the scores have looked in the test markets, they've jumped up 20%. So whatever score you had with the old software, this is going to be a higher score. Now I don't know how underwriters will probably catch on with that and raise their bar too. But for the most part, they want it to be a little more in line with why your score is what it is.
Oh, okay.
So just having limited reason codes doesn't really break it down to what your needs are.
Well, it doesn't help us realize what we need to do to make our credit scores higher.
Exactly. Hopefully you'll see a better definition of why the score is what it is. And that's their whole intention of the whole thing.
Well, good. That sounds great.